hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go!
Vamos, Leafs. Maple Leafs, vamos. And Steve Dangle is a smelly guy.
You know,
people won't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that ad isn't until later in the show.
Is it not?
It might be in the middle.
Smelly
It
guy.
might be at the beginning. It's a dynamic ad, so people might.
Adam
not get
Wilde is a smelly guy.
You'll get it. You'll get it eventually. Listen,
it. What if,
it's
what
like
if it's not in their region?
No, this is why I'm such a genius. This is a Quentin Tarantino movie. You're seeing stuff at the beginning that you won't get till later. Okay? All right? So dig deep, kids.
Is that genius stuff or is it annoying?
Well, after about 8 movies, it got annoying for sure. Like, I
love Tarantino.
I do
Night
too.
Shyamalan. I wonder if there's going to be a twist again. There might be.
There's the one in the cabin where he's like, we shot it all in 75 millimeter because that's how they used to shoot it in the 30s. And I was like, nobody cares. Literally nobody cares.
Kill Bill 1 and 2 got to be like top 5 movies all time for me.
So amazing. And well, and when they do aren't they going to do a third where they like are all older?
Not. No.
Are they going to do where they're all older?
I don't know if that's happening, but I pray it's not happening.
There's like
Including
a
the dead
theory.
ones? Like,
Yeah, no. There's like a conspiracy theory that like somebody's going to come back for Uma Thurman.
No.
Because like,
Please
doesn't
don't.
she kill someone's
No.
dad and then like there's a kid that escapes?
Yeah, but
And then
no.
the kid would be older and then go after Uma Thurman. That's what they're saying.
I'm upset.
No, you don't like that?
make
I'm
a new
upset.
thing.
Yeah.
Anyone, make a new thing.
Okay.
Stop with the
what were
remakes
the-
and the
What was the 4-hour movie that the internet nerds were upset about
Oh, the
this weekend?
Zack Snyder Batman's Justice League. Jesus. I know that they're including a good friend of ours, Mike Stevens from the Staff and Graph podcast. I know there were people that really liked it, but I tweeted this out. There are very few movies that could be good over the course of 4 hours.
there are none.
Well, Lord of the Rings, the extended cut was pretty sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
I
extended-
believe you.
It was sick. It was sick.
Bro, I don't have
People are
4
like-
hours.
People are like,
I don't.
They're coming at me in the mentions like, oh, well, there's series that last multiple seasons and they're fine and they're more than 4 hours. It's like, well, yeah, but like, that's not how that's written. You understand? Like, it's
What
right,
movie
so-
is designed to pause?
Bingo.
Right. So they said it's done in parts. That's what I read on the
Acts.
on the Twitter machine. The film is split up into parts, but it's not the same as like, oh, you can't be like, oh, Breaking Bad was 6 seasons. Like, no, it's not the same thing. It's a movie.
Also, I know I'm not the most superhero-y guy in terms of like being a fan.
Physique?
I do. No, physique. My physique is clearly a superhero.
Obviously, you got the chin.
No, but there's something about Batman fighting a space creature that's like,
No.
do you know what I mean? What made the Chris Nolan Batman so good is that it was like in a weird way, it could be real. Like these, you almost felt like these characters could exist. And it was, I think, I forget who it was, but I was watching Suicide Squad with somebody. It was Roz Weston from the Kiss Morning Show. We were both down in New York watching it for our various entertainment outlets.
Adam, are you gonna hurt your back when you pick up all these names you're dropping?
Oh yeah, me and Roz, yeah.
In New York.
In New York. Yeah, no, because he works for Entertainment Tonight Canada, and I was doing the breakfast television entertainment at that point. So we flew down to New York. They fly you down there, you watch the movie, you interview the cast the next day. And he was like, he looked at me after this, he's like, where they lose it for me is when it's not like the best superhero movies are when it's somewhat feels like it could be real. Like there's something that could be at stake. That's when the Avengers lost it for me. It's like, oh man, these space surfing guys are coming out of the sky. Woo! It's going to get crazy. I bet the Hulk will smash some of them. Like
That's when.
that's when it got a little, I mean, like the
At
first
that
Iron Man
point.
is amazing. The first Iron Man is amazing because it's real. It feels real. It's not real, but it feels real.
Iron Man, the guy with the metal heart, and
That he fashioned
Captain
in the
America,
cave.
who's still alive, and we got who else? We got the entirety of Wakanda, the very concept of the Hulk. Really, Adam?
Also, Batman is so transparently Batman. It's like, oh, this billionaire who can definitely afford to be Batman and is the only person in the city who could do it. That guy's not Batman. Like,
Well,
my
he's got
God,
a
it's like-
custom-made vehicle with missile. That's Bruce Wayne.
Well, yeah, and
It's
the
Bruce
thing is, what those movies are missing to make them a little bit more realistic is like Batman's somewhat hateable in real life, and he does it on purpose. But like, if he was that rich, he'd be like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos level, would he not?
Yeah,
like,
and you
people
would figure
like,
out-
hate him.
you would figure out that Elon Musk is Batman because he's the only person with this Tesla Batman car. And then everyone's like, whoa, who's Batman? Oh.
And he's intentionally being obnoxious.
Yeah.
This would explain a lot about his Twitter account.
But there's like in the Christian Bale one, there's like one scene where he becomes like a jackass for a moment, and they're like, and everybody's like, "Oh, I'm so offended." It's like, okay, it would take more than one dinner to have rich people leave your house if you're that wealthy. Like, you can be a total dick when you're rich, and people will be like, "Whatever, man, I'm still your friend."
Yeah, you put up with him. Oh, well, he's got a bidet. Like, I don't know. I guess I'll stay. I mean, he's rich enough to have a bidet. He's got a really nice bidet. So.
And with all that being said, The Dark Knight was awesome.
It was sick.
Like,
it was amazing.
That's one of the best movies ever.
Amazing. And you know, if you go back and watch whatever the third one was, I forget what it was called. It's not
The
that
Dark Knight Rises. Yeah.
with Bane. It's a pretty good movie.
Oh my God, I loved all three. That trilogy is unbelievable.
It's awesome. It's
First
awesome.
one's very underrated.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Very,
it is.
very underrated.
Because it was made so much time before the second one, so that people forget it. But it's really good.
Incredible. It's an incredible one. And randomly, Katie Holmes is not in it anymore after that movie. I don't understand, but that's what happened. She was the original, and
I
then
forgot.
yeah, I think the Tom Cruise stuff blew up in between there or something. It was bizarre because that movie's old now. It's probably 15 years old, which is hard to believe. I know, Steve, that came out probably when you and I were in high school. How wild is that?
Well, I feel like this is the year of everything you like is 15. Like everything you like is 15 years old at least.
Yeah.
Some things are 25.
Yeah.
How long ago was the South Park movie?
Oh man, wasn't that 98 or 99?
Like,
Yeah, that's more than 20 years old.
Oh yeah. We're coming up on 25.
Like Joe Thornton was like a sophomore.
True.
Spezza wasn't drafted yet.
99 South Park movie.
The Patrick Steffen draft.
Well, that was a good draft.
Or the Sedin draft. Or Pavel Grendel. Depends who you cheer for.
We're closer to 2040 than we are to the release of the South Park movie.
You stop that immediately. How dare you?
Steve, you're closer to 50 than you were than you are
Yeah.
than you are that age when it came out.
You stop that immediately.
Way closer to 50 than that age when it came out.
Cool. I'm just sitting here on a podcast with my friends waiting to see if I get a number in Top Shot. I've clearly adjusted to adulthood.
So I know you want to do this Top Shot thing later on the show. I just want to go on the record and say I have no fucking clue what's going on here. So Steve's like, we have to do this. I'm like, good, let's go and do it. We can share your screen. I don't know what's happening. So you'll have to explain that to me.
Right now? Okay. Well,
no, not right now. It's okay.
No.
We'll get to it later.
Okay, good.
We're gonna
because I
get into
also might not get this.
Okay. Well, we're gonna get into who wore the crown, and then we'll sort it out. Is that cool?
No.
Okay. Well, what would you like to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Let's do the crown.
Okay.
Let's do the crown. I know who I'm gonna pick. You know what? I don't think I should go first
Who should
because I want to go obnoxious.
Well, hang on. Hang on now. Let's get to the sponsor.
I might burn the whole segment down if I go first.
If it's okay with you, we'd like to get to who sponsored the segment. Would that be okay?
I mean, yeah, I suppose that'll be okay too. What do they donate to charity? Jesse, you good?
I bet they read books too. A group of losers.
Can I explain where's the crowd this week?
Yeah, tell us the nerd.
Fine.
All right. For today's episode of Who Are the Crowd, it's going to be sponsored by Kevin Leach. Kevin Leach submitted his donation to Sick Kids of $125. Thank you, Kevin. That's very generous. He DM'd me and said, you guys consistently have great discussions and not just about hockey. Your thoughtful and entertaining conversations keep me coming back, even if I'm an Avs fan. Thanks for inspiring me to donate. That's from Kevin. Adam, take it away with your ad read.
Kevin is listening to us solely for the fact that he knows that we regret losing Nazem Kadri immensely. That's why Kevin's listening. I believe that's why Steve's friend, producer Drew, listens.
It's mostly personality.
Yeah, it's literally that Nazem Kadri trade. What is up with that? Unbelievable. Anyway, hey, listen, Kevin, if you want to be cool like Kevin and cheer for a team that might actually win, be like Kevin and cheer for the Avs. In the meantime, why not check out the podcast and Who Wore the Crown? Steven, who should start?
Oh, no. Okay, fine. You want me to do
I'm
it?
asking you who should start.
Who should start? You, dickhead. You go first. You're on the spot. It's your turn now.
My crown goes to Jack Campbell, the savior. Obviously, first off, when was the last time you saw a goalie stack the fucking pads in a game in the NHL?
Adam, if I may.
What?
Stack Campbell.
Ooh. I like that better than the. I think Soup should belong to. They got to stop calling him Soupy and then McKay Soup like it's or Mickey. It's come on, we got to figure this out here, guys.
Stacking cans.
Stacking the cans.
Soup, you see.
He can. Anyway, long story short, because it's a can on top of a can and it's a dance. God. Anyway, long story short, the pad stack thing was incredible. And I've told you since the beginning, since Jack got here, that's my boy. And he just seems like the greatest guy. And there's an article in the Toronto Star today about, is Jack Campbell actually that nice? And they interview people from all around his like minor hockey and people that played with him and that sort of thing. And each one of them goes, every time I think about that guy, I just smile. Like literally, this is him. He's like, real.
He's never been behind someone at a light that's been green too long for us all to be standing here still and honk the horn. Like he's never had that experience.
No, nothing. Just a nice, good human being who stopped all the right shots. Well, stopped all the shots, got himself a shutout. Great to see him back. Steve, who do you want to go to next? I don't even know where to go.
I want Jesse to go.
Ooh.
All right. I got a special. This is a crown for Adam. I'm giving my crown to Jason Spezza for his 7th goal of the season.
Ooh, yeah. Sexy.
Now, Jason Spezza's 7th goal of the season, it was quite the shot. It was quick and it was quick off the blade. And I learned from Stewie that Jason Spezza has a big toe. So what that means is the end of his stick, the little blade there, it's huge. His curve's a lot bigger than the average NHL player. And if you remember back on March 9th, 2009, Ron Wilson, head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs, tapped on the referee and said, hey, go look at that guy's stick. That guy was Jason Spezza. And the referee called Jason Spezza over. He got a penalty in that game for having a curve that was illegal because his curve is a little bigger than usual. So he got caught in that game, March 9th, 2009. He got a 2-minute penalty for having the illegal stick. He actually, you can watch the video on YouTube. He cracks his stick over the boards before the ref comes and checks it. So then the ref's looking at this stick that's half broken. It's a great video. Go look it up.
Funny.
And he gets assessed 2-minute minor. The Leafs go on the power play because of that. They don't convert on the power play. Senators win 2-1 that game. So crown goes to Jason Spezza because now you're on our side and you're scoring your 7th goal of the season with that big toe, a legal curve. Hopefully now it's legal. I don't know. They don't really check it anymore. But
no, because it's a dumb rule. And let me throw this at you. I bet you Steve did an LFR after that game.
Yeah. You know what? I bet I did. And we could probably find it. Do you also remember the ensuing controversy?
What's that?
Oh, here we go.
I do have it. I haven't written here, but go ahead.
So, okay. Jason Spezza obviously tries to be slick, breaks his stick. Then Coach Ron Wilson catches him. Then there is a press conference a few days later. I don't remember if this was before a game or after. And Ron Wilson is being very curt. He's being very short with the media. Short even by Ron Wilson's standards. He did not get along with them very well. You might remember he announced his extension on Christmas Day, forcing every sports writer in the city to work on Christmas Day one year. But he was being particularly short. And one Howard Berger decided to ask him, like, Ron, it's like, is everything okay? And he goes, no, I'm annoyed, and I'm annoyed at you for basically calling out my integrity as a coach, because there was an article written basically in not so many words. Listen, the Leafs are shit right now. And you only get to use your illegal curve bullet once or twice a year. Why would you waste it? Now teams are going to look for it and make sure, they don't have their special sticks out. You should save this for when you're good and when the games actually matter. And that made one Ron Wilson very, very mad.
Wow.
Yes.
I mean, it's just two bad takes swirling in the wind together. Like, it's just everything about that. The Leafs sucked. The call sucks. The rule sucks. It sucked. Everything sucks. And no, there's not. And the Leafs sucked in the game. They get a penalty. They can't score on it. Everything just sucks.
It stinks. It stinks. Yes, everything stinks.
Yeah, that's how it was. Now, if you had told Steve Dangle on March 13th, 2009, Jesse?
March 9th,
that the first playoff hockey he'd see wouldn't be till 2013 in an LFR. And I remember this very well because it was right before the podcast started and people were tweeting at Steve like, holy shit, it's your first playoff LFR. And then here's the best part. It would be another 4 years till he saw another game in the playoffs.
I made videos for 9 years or 10. No, it was 10. It was LFR 10. It was my 10th season before the Leafs made the playoffs in an 82 game season. Yeah. It's been a ride, folks.
Sure
There's a reason my book's not called This Is Fun.
Steve, do you have someone?
Well, Adam, Jesse bringing up Jason Spezza and his big toe and scoring a goal. It was an impressive goal. But Jesse, I got to say, it wasn't even the most impressive goal of the game. That would be the second from Zach Hyman. The wraparound.
It was pretty cool.
Morgan Rielly going bowling with an entire defensive pair.
What was that, by the way? That was terrible coverage.
That was Rasmus Andersson deciding to bowl Rielly over into Juuso Välimäki, and all of a sudden the Flames are basically naked and can't do anything. But goal scorers get all the glory. And it's so rare that the person who gets the assist on the goal gets the glory. Steve, are you talking about Alex Galchenyuk? Well, no, he got the secondary assist on that play.
The Thomas Coverley assist.
Yes, the first Jason Allison special. The first point as a Leaf. But the primary assist on that goal went to the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh, here we go.
John Tavares.
Overpaid.
What's there to complain about? This guy, 9 goals, 18 assists for 27 points in 32 games. Heaven forbid he dip ever so slightly below a point a game while the team is in first freaking place in the division. What a bum piece of shit, am I right, folks? John Tavares setting up Zach Hyman for, I was about to say the game-winning goal, but no, the game-winning goal was the first one because Jack Campbell stood on his freaking head. But John Tavares ushering the Leafs into the best era of Toronto Maple Leafs hockey in about a quarter century. And I just got to give my crown to him. God bless John Tavares. And the fact that he is a Leaf, it's such a wonderful thing, isn't it? Who could possibly complain? Whomst among us? Am I right, folks?
Don't ask. If you're wondering what Steve's talking about, you don't need to know about the complaint part anyway.
He's the cream of the crop, Adam.
So
rises to the top.
So let's bring it back to Kevin. Kevin, thank you so much for donating. Kevin, the Avs fan. If you want to be a fan of a team that might actually win some playoff rounds this year, why not?
Why not?
Cheer for the Avs. Hey, fellas, we're in the thick of winter and a storm's brewing. It looks like 1 to 3 inches are in the forecast when you trim that hibernation bush that's taking place in your pants. Seriously. Luckily, our partners at Manscaped specialize in products to make sure you're walking around town with those beautiful snowballs. Manscaped is here to provide the best tools for your grooming experience, offering precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. We're talking about the Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer, which is the best hygiene tool for the modern man. Because of their ceramic blade and advanced skin-safe technology, your snags on the snowballs will be reduced. The trimmer is also waterproof, so you can trim in the shower. It's a lot easier, right? Manscaped Performance Package is the best buy of 2021. The package comes with a new and improved Lawnmower 3.0, Weed Whacker, ear and nose trimmer, performance boxer briefs, which I have and I'm wearing, and they're comfortable, and a travel bag to put it all in. You don't have to put your underwear in, though. That's okay. 20% off, free shipping at manscaped.com. All you have to do is use the code DANGLE. DANGLE. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the code DANGLE. Thanks, Manscaped, for making our winter wieners look so good. All right, now...
that was such a... What kind of wino was that?
That's bullshit.
It was the captain. I was doing John.
Okay.
It's John Tavares.
Where do you like the puck, John?
It's front foot. Better not miss.
You guys are idiots. Oh my god. That is still one of the best things we've ever had the chance to talk about. And if you don't know what we're talking about, it's when John Tavares and Austin Matthews sat down with Elliot Friedman. And as I said at the time, the 3 most charismatic human beings in the world. Elliot, who's very measured and very calm.
Yep.
Austin and John, who don't have a lot to say to the press, let's be honest.
Yep.
And it was, they made a bad joke and they thought it was great.
Ask me some questions.
Funny.
Ask me some questions. You got any questions? Yeah.
What do you mean?
For the captain, it's not every day you get to talk to the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Well, John, how do you respond to the criticism this weekend that you're overpaid?
Well, I don't know. I'm not. I think I'm good. I'm good at hockey. I think I'm pretty good.
That's why we don't ask John Tavares more questions. Okay? Because it's really fucking boring. But you know what? It's nice to have a boring captain. Yeah. Like it's such an easy thing for the press to do, and especially in this town. Like the shit that Matt Sundin took just for not being Canadian and not being Wendell Clark or Doug Gilmour was crazy. It was insane.
Dion with the whole pylon thing. That was terrible.
What you mean, Dion?
Yeah, Dion with the whole.
Well, he did get
thing.
turnstiled a lot, but
come on.
It's not Dion's fault that Dion was captain. He never really should have been named captain.
It's not Dion's fault that he was the first defenseman on the team. You know, he wasn't first pairing. He gets all the minutes. Come on, he's put in position to fail
and wasn't prepared for. And they never gave him I think the problem, and there will be, the pendulum has swung one way. There will be a pendulum swinging the other way where no, you guys are all wrong. Dion Phaneuf was actually good. Look at who his defense partners were. And I think there was a point at which Steve was on, Steve and Andrew Berkshire did an article years ago, and it was one of your first joint articles, I think, for Sportsnet, when you just got hired there, and I loved it. It was about Paul Maurice.
Yes.
And it was about Paul Maurice's history with goaltending and how he'd never had a goalie much over 900. Mm-hmm. And as soon as he did, that year was Andre Pavlik. But then, Connor Hellebuck emerged. Then it was like, oh, wow. That's like, Hutchinson was there too, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he would have been included. I want to say the best goalie he ever had was he got like a couple good seasons at a Cam Ward.
And maybe JS.
I want to say Sean Burke when he was like with Hartford.
Ooh. So I would say to the Dion Phaneuf haters, okay, maybe, but who was he playing with? Like, I can remember when there was a Toronto Sun article about this guy, Mike Koska, who had basically walked his way onto the team, and they're like, wow, and he's playing minutes with Dion Phaneuf. And then there was the Dion Phaneuf-Keith Ollie pairing, which is just two gigantic towering men that can't skate all that well. And then who else was it Paul Ranger, I think he probably played with. Like who? And you're probably asking me who? Well, that was the early 2010s Leafs. It was a bunch of who's and Dion Phaneuf and Phil Kessel. And I don't know that he necessarily got a fair shake. I also don't know that they put him in a position to succeed based on his skill set.
It was still the strangest odd couple I've ever seen. I went out to the bar one night after working at CBC, and I was like, hey, that's Mike Koska and the Old Spice guy. It was really? Isaiah Mustafa. Yeah.
Really?
It was like, what? How would you even know each other? Yeah, that was very weird. Dion Phaneuf, man, I was surprised when I spoke to Brian Burke because I talked about Dion Phaneuf. I can't remember if it was on this show or on one of the Trade Tree videos I did with him, where I talked about, him not really having the captain personality or whatever, or basically it didn't go well with him as captain, and he was like surprised. And I'm like, there was always a vibe with Phaneuf. Like, he's quiet and Tavares is quiet, but it's completely different vibes. There was something about that guy that he put out there that nobody seemed to like.
Like a tenseness.
Yes. I always felt like he was like trying to figure out if he could unhinge his jaw and eat me. Whereas John Tavares, he's just a guy you see at Farm Boy who happens to be very good at hockey and like battles in the corner.
Just a normal guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the hot food here. The hot food table is really good.
So I want to read you a Jack Campbell stat. Are you guys ready? Because this is interesting. Elliot Friedman started the post game after Calgary, the second Calgary game, and said there is no goaltending controversy in Toronto. This is Jack Campbell's net. And Jack Campbell is the first goalie with a sub-2 GAA in his first 10 start with the Leafs since Terry Sawchuk. Leafs great, not Detroit great. Terry Sawchuk in 1964. And his stats compared with Frederik Andersen since joining the team in February 2020, and this is from Sportsnet Stats. He's got less than a 1 GAA. Obviously, he's played way less games. His save percentage is .934, 2 shutouts, and he faces more shots per game than Andersen does on average by 2. Now,
he's played 10 games with the Leafs.
Now, to say Jack Campbell is good doesn't mean you necessarily think Freddie Andersen is bad. But, we mentioned it earlier this season. It was not a popular thing when I started bringing it up. And I know, Steve, you caught some shit for it as well. But there have been alarm bells for Freddie for a year and a half now. And now it's Friday night's game really kind of brought that home. I don't think there's anybody out there who's like, Freddie's fine. It might be injury. And there's a lot of people who are like, well, I think you need to give him credit for playing that well through injury. No, I think you need to look at the Leafs management and say, how are you playing a guy who clearly is not ready to play? That is irresponsible.
And, well, I agree with you. But, okay, you're talking about a guy who wants the net. I think if it were up to Freddie, he'd still be playing, honestly. Like, he wants to play badly. He wants to play as much as possible. He wants to play 60 games. I think he'd be happy to play all 82. Like, I really do. Then I was thinking, what's better? Like, Freddie at what percent of Freddie would you rather Michael Hutchinson be the starter? It's got to be at least below 80.
Well, yeah, and I think the thing is that you play different in front of Michael Hutchinson because you're more afraid of the mistakes that you'll make. Whereas with Freddie, you've built up this, 3.5, 4 years of experience where he saved your ass. Until recently, he's carried the load.
And the Leafs have gone as far as he'll take them. And Nick Kypreos called that before he played a game in a Leaf uniform. And he, with his spectacular goaltending, allowed this group to thrive.
Yes.
Elliot Friedman, I heard talking on 31 Thoughts, he was talking about the Senators being a plucky group. And when they get saves, they're a hard team to beat because it goes right to their legs and they play like a team that's getting saves. And when they're getting poor goaltending, they wilt. And I just wonder what would have happened to the Leafs rebuild if Freddie was not as advertised. If he wasn't Fredzina, if he wasn't a guy who finished top 10 in Vezina voting twice, top 5 in there as well. He deserves all the credit in the world. But Friday's game, Adam, put a real stamp on, before that, Michael Hutchinson's last game put a stamp on, there's no option there. That's not an option. And the Friday night game for Freddie put a stamp on the second Jack Campbell is healthy. We need to not only not play this guy, we need to shelve him.
All right.
He's got to go on IR.
And is he on IR as of now?
So he's not on it yet, but after the game, Keefe said that he's been dealing with a lower body injury. And I think the best thing about the situation is what Keefe said is that on Thursday, the problem is going to solve itself. Because if Freddie's not good to go, then he goes on IR. Then Campbell gets a run with the crease, and then we see what happens. That's why I like what Elliott said after the game, because it's not a goalie controversy if one guy can't play. You only got one guy to play, so we get to see what Campbell looks like when he's starting. And we haven't seen him have a long run. He's just going to get it by default.
I got a question for you both then.
Okay.
If Freddie says he's good on Thursday based on how he played last Friday, are you trusting that?
No, you're going with Jack. No matter what.
Because he did say, Jesse, am I wrong in the interpretation? Keefe said if he's not ready to go Thursday, we'll start Jack.
Yeah, I can read you the quote. He said, there may not be much decision to be made for me on Thursday. The goalies themselves, based on their health, that may determine it for us. So I think he's alluding to in the next 48 hours, we see Andersen go on IR and he gets a little bit of a breather and Campbell gets the starts in the next few games. I'm
not 100% sure I have this right, but I think they're probably still monitoring Jack's health. Mm-hmm. Sure looks healthy to me. Double pad stack, shutout, pretty good. But they can place Freddie on LTIR, and I believe the cap savings are retroactive.
Oh.
And the other issue there is if a player gets put on IR or LTIR, I don't know the exact numbers, but there is a certain amount of time they have to stay on it.
Yeah, there's a
Yes,
minimum games or weeks. I think it's 10 days or like I want to say 5 games.
4 or 5 games.
10 days rings a bell.
Yeah, it's
10 days rings a bell.
Something like that. But
Which I don't hate.
So
I don't hate.
I think they're monitoring the situation. Has Vevalainen's quarantine even ended yet?
No. No.
So
And who did they called up a goalie today? I think it was Wool.
no, it was Ian Scott. So
Ian
he was previously WHL goalie of the year, Leaf draft pick, but he had, I think it was hip surgery, and he hasn't played. Here, let me just look him up. I think he played an AHL game, and like that's all he's got. So I think he's on the Leafs right now because he was hurt. I want to say it was in camp. Therefore, to activate him, he has to be a Leaf. And then you can send him down. But as of right now, I want to say for cap savings purposes, they need to have 3 goalies at all times this season because it's unique. So I think right now it's Campbell, Hutchinson, and Wool. So 2018-19 Prince Albert Raiders, 49 games. He had a .932 save percentage. That is very, very good. The season before, he played 1 game with the Marlies. That was a win, and that's his only pro experience. There's no illusion here. The Leafs aren't sticking this guy in the net. Yeah. Forget professional shots. He hasn't faced a professional shot since 2018, and he hasn't faced any shots for like 2 seasons, basically, outside of maybe practices. So we're a long way away from seeing Ian Scott.
Yeah. Well, and so this makes me wonder. I wonder if they're holding Freddie off of IR. LTIR is the cap situation, but if they're holding him off IR because they're looking to make a goalie move, and you can't make a goalie move and risk Michael Hutchinson being your starter, because if Jack Campbell's been dealing with nagging injuries that maybe are better now, and he gets injured again on Thursday, what do you have? So at that point, it's like maybe we have 70% Freddie, but that might still be better. So
depending on when he left, I think Vevalainen would be available to the organization March 26th or 27th.
They got to do something about that.
So it's a
long time.
5 days, but I think they only play 1 game.
Right.
During that time.
Yeah, you got Thursday, and then you got Edmonton over the weekend.
So you probably run a bit of a risk. But I think it's minimal. You're betting that you're not going to lose all 3 of Freddie, who I imagine they would be able to bring back if they really had to. Campbell and Hutch, and then then you're digging into like you're gonna have to play Joseph Wool against like the Oilers.
Well, and that's not fair. That's not fair.
No, it's super not.
I think they are going to make a goalie move here, guys. I don't think they have a choice. Like an intelligently run organization like the Leafs. And here's the thing: you make a goalie move, and this is what I would do. And maybe I'm not on Dubas's level of intelligence, but if you can make a goalie move and you get a 1A or just a B guy, let's say you get Bernier. Bernier is just a name that comes up who's played well. Let's say you get Bernier.
He's hurt.
Then you can put. Oh, he's hurt.
Yeah,
dude. Almost every goalie we talked about last episode is fucking hurt.
That's the thing.
Kemper,
there are no
Bernier,
goalies available to make a move. That's my whole
Let's
thing.
say there was. Let's say there was.
No.
Hypothetical guy.
Let's let him go. I'm sorry.
Let's say John Stamos is a great goalie.
Yeah.
John Stamos from the Seattle Kraken, and the Kraken are already a team. And you're like, John Stamos, not only would you would be the great counterbalance to Willie when it comes to the looks, one blonde, one dark-haired, both stallions. Also, you'd be a great 1B goalie for us. You have that 1B goalie in behind Jack Campbell who can pick up a few games along the way, and you keep Freddie on IR as long as you possibly can. If that means right till the end of the season, you Nikita Kucherov it. And then you've got as healthy as you can get Freddie Anderson. Maybe you play him in the last game to warm him up because who cares? You get him as healthy as you can get him for the playoffs. You're not going to lose a 3rd goalie on waivers in the playoffs, I don't think. I don't think that's possible. No. And you roll into the playoffs with 3 goalies that you can use. Because the taxi squad, I don't believe you put people on waivers to go to the taxi squad in the playoffs.
I'm trying to think of what I would have done differently if I were the Leafs, right? So you have already lost 2 guys on waivers, the 2 skaters. And what's amazing about that is you should have lost 3. The Spezza thing was a unique situation. He threatened to retire.
Let's all call it what it was. It was bullshit shenanigans.
100% shenanigans.
Can't do that.
Well, so
early in the season.
The Lightning with Kucherov. Oh, he's going to be ready game 1 in the playoffs. You don't even know you're going to make the playoffs. Well, we assume.
Nah, well, I would too,
and he's going to be ready on that day. What day is that? That day.
Like, he's the MVP, man, or what? He has a heart under his belt.
It's a little different circumstance.
It's all, they don't have to make a deadline move. They can keep everybody they want to keep. Come on.
We're talking about Nikita Kucherov and Jason Spezza here.
Yeah,
Let's
different. And one, the team is threatening to lose a guy, and they're just like, no, we're going to keep him.
Kucherov's not getting waived.
Yeah, so he's staying on the team.
They should have lost 3. Now, I've seen some scenarios thrown out there where the Leafs could have held on to Aaron Dell, and it's true, but I can't remember the exact situation because Aaron Dell was lost to waivers months ago, but they could have lost somebody else then at the beginning of the season. So the Leafs are one of 7 teams trapped in this nation that has this scenario where it takes 2 weeks to get here. So realistically, 15 days probably, because I imagine there's the extra day of, well, I guess I got to pack my shit and leave. So it's 14 or 15 days. They had essentially 4, arguably 3.5 NHL quality goalies. They had Freddie Anderson, Jack Campbell, Aaron Dell, Michael Hutchinson was number 4. And I looked at that and I went, that's pretty great. I mean, I have no notes. Good for you. And Aaron Dell was hungry and he wanted to be the backup even. We know that would not have happened, but he wanted it anyway. And they're trying to protect the kids. They haven't put Joseph Woll in a predicament. Ian Scott's obviously still, recovering. I'm just trying to, they traded for a goalie.
All right. As a manager, Kyle Dubas did everything in his power to set the team up for success. And that's all you can ask for as a manager. And he did his job phenomenally, and it just didn't work out.
As a manager, he must react on the fly, though.
Totally.
He's got to get a goalie, guys.
But there's no on the fly.
Right.
The on the fly would have been claiming Anton Forsberg off waivers. But the Leafs are being punished for being too good because their spot in the waiver wire picking order, they've probably seen Anton Forsberg's name on waivers a bunch of times and went, holy shit, here it is. The Jets get him. Oilers get him. I think the Hurricanes got him. He's on his 4th team right now. I think he's on the Sens. And they're like 1st in the pecking order, right? When it comes to the waiver wire. I'm not sure. Like, there's no on the fly. On the fly is I make a trade. I have the guy in a matter of hours, and he's playing NHL games for my team. Unless you make a trade with a Canadian team, it's just there isn't an option.
All right.
And I'm as frustrated as anybody, but I don't know what he could have done different.
I don't think he could have. I'm just saying now he needs to.
Yeah, but it won't be on the fly. Is all I'm saying.
Well, on the fly towards the trade deadline. How's that sound? This is on the fly. Mid-season is on the fly, is what I mean.
Sure. On the fly.
Just find the goalie.
Find the goalie, get him.
If you can find the goalie, like, kudos to you, because I look around the league and I don't see it.
Well, a couple
Campbell
names that
stays
came
healthy,
up.
he doesn't have to do anything.
A couple names came up that I kind of like. Both having shit seasons. Korpisalo, well, not shit. It's not great. Korpisalo's not had a great year. Georgiev has not had a great year.
Oh, well, does Rasmus Sandin get it done?
No. Apparently, Rasmus Sandin is the only player that gets anything done in any trade proposal, by the way. And, and let me say this: the Nick, or sorry, is it not Nick Foligno? Nick Foligno?
Yes.
Yes, who currently plays, who I always
on the Blue Jackets.
Mixed up with his dad, because I used to watch his dad play for the Leafs. Every time he scored, he'd jump and he'd do the big jump.
Yeah,
but that was okay. But anybody else celebrating too much, they're European, and we don't like that. The thing with Foligno is, like, to me, that's the old guy hockey people in Toronto wanting that to happen. That is not a Kyle Dubas move. The other one that I found hilarious, and I don't know how reliable the fourth period is at David Pagnotta. At the fourth period, David Pagnotta. I'm not sure how reliable he is as an insider. Seems to have a lot of chatter, but the suggestion that Jonathan Quick, who with 2 years left on his contract, might be somebody that LA would definitely 100,000% part with at 50% of their salary for basically nothing. And apparently Jonathan Quick and Jack Campbell are good friends. And if the Leafs need to, they can get Jonathan Quick. And my question is, why would you get a guy who hasn't been good in 3 or 4 years when you have a guy who at least was good in 2019?
Like, of all the goalies I would turn to, the cap number, the everything. I mean,
when he was at his peak, Steve, what did Andrew Berkshire always say about Jonathan Quick?
He's something along the lines of he's the best bad goalie in the world.
Like, yeah, he has 2 good months a year, and they're stellar, and then the rest of it's pretty mediocre. Yeah.
He's one of the guys where when everyone was like the dawn of fancy stats and all that, everyone was talking about how bad Jonathan Quick is, and I was just like, I'll have to take your word for it. Because all I do is I watch him win Stanley Cups and be frigging unbeatable. Even I think it was their last playoff appearance against Vegas, that 5-game series against Vegas. He had something like a 950 save percentage. It's just Marc-Andre Fleury was a god for some reason, but he's 35, prone to injuries. Elliot Friedman sort of doused this rumor with water. Buddy, I don't get it.
I wouldn't understand that one either. That didn't make sense to me. No. Anyway, so it's interesting. I thought it was worth bringing up anyway, just to examine, because I got it tweeted at me a lot this weekend. Let me ask you this. How do you feel about these other candidates? The Athletics got a few from Myrtle and Jonas Siegel. So you've got Bernier, Detroit, injured. Devin Dubnyk. Is Devin Dubnyk
bad?
Antti Ranta, 922 save percentage.
Not happening because Darcy Kemper's hurt.
Yeah. Georgiev, Korpisalo were 2 names I already brought up. Here's one that I want. And I don't know that they can make this happen during the season, but here's the guy I want, because the team he's on is rebuilding. You want a good goalie on a bad team? John Gibson.
Right. Who just signed like a massive deal.
6 years remaining at 6.4 a season.
I mean,
he's 27. So you probably hate the back half of that contract.
Yeah, and if you're Anaheim, you probably say, hey, we're going to need a goalie when we're good, which could be in like 2 years. We'll have John Gibson still. So you probably don't give up on him. They do. Right?
Yeah.
They got some real good pieces. Now,
I just wonder if they're financially struggling, right? I think they're one of those teams that could be. And because the Samuelis are very, very good owners from everything we've heard, but I definitely think that if there's any ownership group that's probably struggling, they would be among that group, I would think.
Yeah. I don't see Georgiev being an option. I don't think the Rangers let Lundqvist walk just to trade Georgiev. Columbus is interesting, but as I look at the standings right now, looky who's in a playoff spot. The Columbus Blue Jackets, and looky who they're slated to play in the first round if the standings stay the same, the Lightning.
Oh boy,
every year.
Great.
John Gibson's injured. He's out for a little
They're all injured. Everybody's injured.
Yeah. So what if the solution is just you hope your goalies stay healthy because that's all anyone has?
That's not good enough. You have to do it.
It's not good enough for everybody.
You have to go out and do something. Not everybody's a Stanley Cup contender.
There
Steve,
aren't
200
NHL goalies in the world.
We're asking you for the name, and we can't come up with one.
Anton Hudobin in Dallas.
There's a name, but why would Dallas give him up?
Yeah,
well,
I don't understand why they would trade him.
Apparently, he's got 2 more years left on his deal, and they're not crazy about that because they had to re-sign him after the Stanley Cup run. Ben Bishop's back to Ben Bishop form, and maybe they'd like to offload $3 million a year.
So I think there are options out there. I do think one of the Arizona goalies is an option. I do think one of the Columbus goalies is an option. Who did you just mention again? Anton Hudobin. I do think Anton Hudobin is an option. For all of them, though, I think they're off-season options. You know, I don't think any of those teams want to part with them. Dallas, I'm looking, they're boy, they're not very good in the Central, but they're really not that far back of a playoff spot. They've played 4 fewer games than Columbus. They just went to the Stanley Cup.
What if you give them Liljegren, Sandin, and a first?
Can I end this now?
Maybe.
Ben Bishop's injured, so they need to go.
For God's sake!
Wow.
Like, are you
Did
kidding?
that. That's over.
Are you kidding?
It's not happening.
It's over. It's not happening.
Man, maybe Jonathan Quick is the only option.
No, I don't want that guy.
I don't either.
No, the option is Jack Campbell.
It's Jack Campbell and Freddie Anderson.
Okay, so Jack the Savior Campbell is going to have to really save our butts.
And let's say Freddie is hurt and Campbell gets hurt. What team has 3 NHL starters? Like, it's just shit happens, man. Like, I don't know. Listen, I don't want Michael Hutchinson to be the starter of the team either, but like, Jesus Lord.
I think we're going that
everyone's
way.
dropping like flies. The Stars' top 3
no.
centers are injured right now.
Here's what's going to happen too, Steve. You ready?
What?
One of the Leafs defense is going to go down. They're going to get Granlund, but they're not going to get the defenseman that they should take a swing at, which is Ekholm. And one of their defensemen is going to come down, and it'll be Martin Marincin and Michael Hutchinson in the starting lineup game 1 of the playoffs.
Okay, don't do that.
It's happening. It's happening.
You're a
I'm just
bad
saying.
man.
You know it's happening. And then there's going to be a bunch of people like, whoa, but he's good on the penalty kill. It's great.
Yeah, but they'll be saying that out loud to themselves to make them feel better, like I do. That's what I do. I go, yeah, but he's got a long stick.
Yes.
Foresee God.
Can I ask Steve a question that's not about this?
Sure. This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Say it with us. Blue Chew. Blue Chew is making waves and bringing more confidence to the bedroom by offering chewable tablets that can help get men stronger and longer lasting erections. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form at a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew's tablets help men achieve harder and stronger erections to combat all forms of ED. And ED is something we need to talk about a little bit more. Blue Chew is an online prescription service, so no doctor's visits are needed, no awkward conversations, no waiting in line at the pharmacy, and it ships right to your door in a discreet package. The process is simple. You sign up at BlueChew.com, consult one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're all approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. And the best part, it is all done online. So if you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we've got a special deal just for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use the promo code TWO at checkout. Just pay $5 at shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code 2 to receive your first month free. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this latest podcast.
Steve, what number in line are you for the Cool Cats Drop 3?
So, yes, Jesse and I guess, are both.
Yeah, what number are you?
For a pack of NBA Top Shot, I am 297,820th.
That's out of 300,000 people. I'm 160,976. So I'm ahead of you.
Wow, and there's 67,000 packs. Yeah, it's not happening for us, bud.
No.
You guys wanted to do this today, right?
No packs. No packs.
Yeah, but we have nothing to open. So here's the problem, Adam. There's such demand for NBA Top Shot cards, which are digital basketball cards, NBA cards. There's so much demand that you can't simply buy them, the new packs. There's a finite amount of them. So today's at 67,500. And you have to get in line. There are over 300,000 people in line to buy these right now.
So once you enter the line, Adam, before it's 12 Pacific, but it's 3 here is when the drop happens. So before 3, you get in line, and then once 3 hits, they randomly put you in an order in the line. So it just spits out your number in the line. And Steve and I got in the hundreds of thousands, and only 67,000 cards. So we're not going to get a card.
But you have to sign up every day then?
Whenever there's a drop. So it's at random times there'll be drops.
And are you going to be able to sell these?
Yeah,
Yes.
on the market. Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll sign up too, because I'm all about that. I care less about the card. Money's
It's not about
good.
making money, but you're selling it in like Ethereum. So unless you're cashing out, which you're not really doing.
I have at least one friend who I'm hoping
Cool.
like they write an article about one day. He's going to make so much money off Top Shot.
Oh, good for him.
Good for him. It ain't me. I've only lucked into one pack.
Okay.
And I made money off it.
Defenseman the Leafs are apparently in on. Predators, Matthias Ekholm. Anaheim's Josh Manson. David Savard, potentially as well from Columbus. Yeah. Who do you like the most in this? Who do you think is most likely?
Boy, David Savard would look great on the Leafs. Add to that right side. But unfortunately, because Columbus is doing so well, I was listening to, I took Iggy for a walk just before this, so I was listening to 31 Thoughts, and Free just like, it probably takes him off the table. Boy, I would really like Ekholm. But at this point, I think we're looking at guys you like in the NHL, but their depth. A top four guy like Ekholm would be wicked.
Josh Manson?
Manson, I would say, is a pretty good option. Very good option. I don't know exactly what he would cost. But like I saw some people were very upset to see Mark Stahl's name mentioned. And I'm looking at a few guys who are not analytical darlings at all, but I'm like, okay, at the end of the day, like you can be like a fail safe in the event of injury. Mm-hmm. So like a Mark Stahl,
which will cost Mark Stahl cost you nothing.
Dirt. It costs you dirt. And Red Wings fans, at least from what I've seen on Twitter, have been decently pleased with him this year, I guess, versus expectations. Dmitry Kulikov is another guy.
I got a couple names.
You're just going to need bodies.
Couple names from the Coyote. Chalmerson, who I keep saying has got to be a Leaf one day. What about Goligoski?
Goligoski's an option. He's definitely playoff hardened and mean. We know that. But how hard are those miles? And similar conversation, but he's right-handed with Jason Demers. Arizona remains a good carcass to pick in this scenario. We thought it'd be a goalie. It could be a defenseman. I think I understand the allure of wanting to get a top six winger, a third line center. I think they're things the Leafs could use to get better, but I am trying to make myself see a scenario where they need defense less than that. And I don't. Any one of those Jenga pieces gets taken out. I think the Leafs could probably take a hit on the left. Like if Dermott got hurt.
Yeah.
Even Riley, I could see Sandin stepping in and being effective with those minutes. He's
for a couple of games, guy. Maybe.
For it, yeah. Muzzin. They don't have a Muzzin. They don't have anything that looks like Muzzin. But my faith in Rasmus Sandin makes me go, okay, they could survive a hit on the left. On the right,
nothing.
Unless Timothy Liljegren has really taken a step. And there are a lot of really big Timoth believers out there saying it'd be a mistake to trade this guy. You watch, he's taking a step. He's way better defensively than you would think. But we don't know. So in terms of...
Well, isn't it time to find out then?
Well,
put him in the lineup. What's stopping you?
So you just take Bogo out.
Yeah.
The problem, I think, is the team is trying to completely strip the roster so that they're spending as little money as humanly possible. They don't want any extras. It's not they're not going to waive Bogosian, right?
No.
The only way to make that happen, I think, is to call up Liljegren, take someone out of the lineup, but then you're going to be costing yourself money against the cap.
Right. Well, for 24 hours, maybe. Now,
what I'd say is Dubas is clearly up to something. He's clearly in buy mode. And it'd be great to evaluate Liljegren, but I don't think they're going to get that opportunity.
Let me ask you this then. With a team like Arizona, I know Darcy Kemper's injured, but if you could pull, this is a team that would still have Darcy Kemper if Antti Ranta's gone, and would still have Antti Ranta if Darcy Kemper's gone, and they have to be in somewhat retool, rebuild mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not looking to hang on to both of those guys. So to me, that's an obvious target for goaltending. And if you can get a depth defenseman too, that team needs draft picks. Match made in heaven.
It would be nice.
And if you can find, and I don't know how Arizona's defense stacks up, but if you can find an upgrade, and I hate to say this to Justin Hall, but the Leafs are less strong on the right side, obviously. They've always been. If you can find an upgrade to Justin Hall and get somebody in that top six, I don't hate Justin Hall moving down. People are like, well, is there going to be enough ice time to move Ekholm around? Well, if they got Ekholm, then you play him with Muzzin.
And it gives you flexibility as well. And Ekholm has experience on the right and left.
Yeah.
Your top
with Muzzin.
Your top pair has a lefty on the right. Like, let's not get too pick and choosy about that.
Right. And you're worried about ice time for Ekholm because he's so good. You're not worried about, if Justin Hall only plays 15 minutes tonight, like it's almost like Eric Engel saying, I would just say to the player, who the fuck do you think you are? And why are you in my office? Like, no, but you're not that level, right? Like you're not there. And I don't think Justin would probably tell you that. He's played great, but that's why you want to have that. I want 3 pairs of that.
Well, and I remember years ago, there was a Puck Talks. And again, this was Friedge. I don't know why I keep citing Friedge this episode, but there was a Puck Talks where he talked about Adam Oates watching, I think it was an old Penguins Rangers series. And one of the teams was down 3-1. I don't remember which. And the team that was down 3-1, Adam Oates is just watching the TV in the same room. And he goes, that team is going to win the series. Because what they did was they just assaulted. I think it was the Rangers. No, the Rangers attacked the Penguins defense over and over and over and over again. And he's like, they're going to wear them down. You watch. And would that not be your strategy if you're playing the Leafs?
Mm-hmm.
You dump it in. The Leafs are all about possession. They'll be more than happy to take the puck. Dump it in, give it to them, but hammer them. Hammer Justin Hall. Hammer Morgan Riley. Hammer them over and over again. And even if they get you, what are they? They're up 2-1. Hammer them to a point where you're forcing them to, okay, am I playing hurt? Probably, because it's the playoffs. I'm not coming out of the lineup. You're betting on guys playing hurt. Or I really take them out, and then it's some kid. It's because who are their options back there? Outside of Callie Rosen or Martin Marincin, your extras are Sandin, who's a kid, Liljegren, who's a kid.
Mm-hmm. And Martin Marincin.
I just see it as a vulnerable spot. Bodies. I would like to see one more body. Doesn't have to. Chalmerson would be wonderful. Someone with experience, someone who can play in the top 4. All that would be great. But I'm asking, once again, I am asking you for a defensive body.
And
Bernie Sanders on the phone negotiating.
And Ranta's not coming in that deal because Kemper's out. So.
Yeah,
I don't think Arizona cares this year. I think they'd trade him if they could get value.
You need somebody to play goalie.
They don't give a shit, honestly. The season's toast for them. They really don't care. They'll be like, who's guy? I don't know. What's David Ayers up to? Like, it's honestly, they can't. Arizona needs to recoup assets bad. Arizona needs to win the seller's market in this trade deadline. They do.
I mean, if there was a team you could potentially get to make a bad deal, yeah, I mean, that's a good target.
They're a family.
They're a family. How many teams can we get to pay Phil Kessel at once?
Hey, that would be a great top line winger to bring in.
Yeah, for sure. And
why not?
Wow, you know what? He's only got next year left.
We're paying him anyway.
I don't think you want Phil Kessel on the Leafs.
You don't want two-time Stanley Cup winner Phil Kessel
on the for the media shenanigans itself, like shenanigans. Like, you don't want that.
Yo, you know what I love about that so much?
Hold on, Tavares, Nylander setting up Kessel. Oh,
that would be the line. That would be the line.
No, let's not give the media people in this city more fuel for.
Imagine Phil Kessel comes back and wins a Stanley Cup in Toronto. Man. He loved it here too, which I don't know why, because we were so mean to him. But like Phil Kessel winning a Stanley Cup, and Steve Simmons has to write about it. How awesome is that? Come on,
it's too much shenanigans. Like,
let me. I want first of all my new favorite word.
Right,
Second
Jesse,
of all,
I still want him.
You know who I would love and would fit the role wonderfully. Conor Garland. Little guy, but Dubas isn't afraid of that. And he's got 25 points in 30 games. He had 22 goals in 68 games last year.
That's pretty good.
I mean, if you're not willing to
Kessel.
give the sun and the moon, no, that's true. If you're not willing to give the sun and the moon for Taylor Hall, Philip Forsberg, etc., I mean, add him to the list of names of that would be nice. Pending RFA. At this point, I think the best option is probably a rental. That's why my eyes are locked on Iafallo. Just give the Kings an asset. His contract expires, and thanks. We'll message you to get you fitted for the ring.
Okay.
What?
Calm down.
Why? Why would I be calm? They won. They won the cup. Why would I be calm if they won the cup? Are you okay?
Me?
Yeah, what are you doing over there?
I'm tweeting something.
Oh, I was wondering.
Okay.
When Adam leaves the show, we're naked.
Yeah. you just pause in the middle of the show to tweet?
Well,
What we're doing now?
For dingers. So here's what I'm writing.
Okay.
You ready? What would it take to get Phil Kessel on the Leafs for Tavares and Nylander to set him up for dingers for the next 18 months? Send tweet.
Okay.
Did you tag?
Let's see what happens.
You should have tagged Simmons.
I want to see what people say. We'll come back. We'll read some replies. It'll be great.
Okay, I won't spoil it.
Okay. Edmonton coming in hot, tied with the Leafs. Now they have played 3 more games, but still coming right in hot against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And what's interesting is the conversation around Tyson Barrie, I think. Obviously Edmonton had a really rocky start and then, not really rocky start, rocky middle, and they're back. Actually,
that's a good way of putting it.
Since I called them mediocre, they've done great, which is awesome. But the thing with Edmonton that I find interesting is the conversation about Tyson Barrie. People are like, oh, Toronto didn't know what it had. And I think they're right, because I think a lot of people demonize Tyson Barrie for certain things he shouldn't have been demonized for. I also think Toronto put him in a position where he couldn't succeed, flipped coaches in the middle of the season. But Steve, you tweeted something like a couple weeks ago about his production under Sheldon Keefe.
Yes. So I don't have the tweet right in front of me, but he basically, under Mike Babcock, in the few games that he played with him, I think he had 7 assists, no goals. He was scoring at a 25-point pace, something like that. This is Tyson Barrie, who I'm pretty sure put up back-to-back like 60-plus point seasons prior to this. Under Keefe, he was back in the 50s for pace. This is Tyson Barrie. Like, no one on earth should be surprised that he's producing, right? Like, I wasn't jacked on him returning to the team. He is a defensive liability. Let's be honest. What was the quote I heard somewhere? He's a threat at both ends of the ice, which is rude. But I mean, he's truly offensively gifted.
Yeah.
This guy.
Yep.
And the Leafs were not the right fit. They took a 72-point player off the top power play unit to put Barrie in a better position, which made no sense. He would have been better on another team. He's got 30 points in 34 games right now, 26 are assists. What's fascinating to me, though, is he doesn't even lead Oilers defensemen in even strength scoring. That actually belongs to Darnell Nurse.
Right.
So but at the end of the day, should he be punished? Should we think any less of him for doing exactly what he does? So the question, starting the play and getting power play points on an offensively gifted team.
And the Oilers sort of needed that too. They needed that quarterback guy, and he's been great.
Yeah, just don't be an idiot when you re-sign him.
$3.7 million is what he's making. Good value for Edmonton.
Sure.
Now they're talking extension.
Sure.
What do you do?
I don't think I give him more than Riley.
You don't give more than $5 million?
I know he's going to score. But man, defensively, like, you talk about, there are other players in this league. Mm-hmm. Like, maybe a John Carlson comes to mind where like he puts up a ton of points, but you go, oh, he's not the greatest in his own zone. No. This guy is no good in his own zone. I'm not down with it at all. Tyson Barrie is a good hockey player. If the Oilers re-sign him, I don't think it would be a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
But I do see term and dollar amount being an issue. And, you know, maybe he re-signs with them and it's not so bad. Maybe he would get more on the open market. And maybe you can talk him into, listen, he's engaged. You know, we know, I think he's a BC guy.
Mm-hmm.
Settle down here. We're not that far from home. We're in a panini. You know, take a bit of a haircut. Listen, take a bit of a haircut. You can play with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl for the next half decade. Does that sound appealing to you there, Tyson?
Yeah.
Of course it does. Help us surround you and the best duo in the NHL. They have 110 points combined now.
Fuck. Wow.
In 34 games.
McDavid's on pace for 98 points currently. And if he can get up to 100 points, he'd be only the second player in history to reach 100 points in less than 60 games. And the other guy is a guy named by the name of Mario Lemieux. So if he can do that, it'll be history. Then he's 2 points off of that.
He's going to do it. If he's healthy, he'll do it.
Yeah,
he's going to do it because he knows that record. He knows he's going to do it. It's going to be amazing.
Let's put a bow on this conversation. If Tyson Barrie were smart, I think he'd take a haircut to stay with the Oilers because all the fun you're having this year, you can have it forever now.
Mm-hmm. And people don't talk about this much. Low income tax rate in Alberta, very low.
There you go. And it's so sad because I feel like Toronto maybe could have been that in a different scenario, a different mind behind the bench. Babcock just stapled him to Muzzin. And those are both good players, and it didn't work. It very obviously didn't work. And he kept, I'm the smartest guy in the room, and I'm going to make it work. And he ruined his tenure with the Leafs. Could not get it back. Scored goals in 3 straight games. Or was it 4? 3 or 4 straight games. Soon as he was fired. Oh, looks good on you. If I think Barrie would be very smart to take a team-friendly deal with the Oilers. I really do. Now, can we talk about the other scores on the Oilers?
Sure.
So Barrie, 3rd in Oilers scoring with 30 points. The next highest is Leon Draisaitl with 50.
Unbelievable.
The next highest, a.k.a. the highest, is Connor McDavid with 60. What makes that even more unbelievable is Draisaitl is actually 2nd in NHL scoring with 50 points, which means McDavid is 10 points clear of his next closest teammate and the next closest player to him in the scoring race. The 3rd highest scorer in the NHL is Patrick Kane with 42.
And Marner's got 40.
And Marner's got 40, which means he's 20 points clear of 4th, 18 points clear of 3rd, 10 clear of 2nd. He is on, Jesse said, what was it, 98 points?
98-point pace right now in 56 games.
And that's for a 56-game season.
Yeah.
If this were a if this was an 82-game season like it usually is, he'd be on a 144-point pace. And
so it's 1.7 1.76 points per game, and that's 29th all time. So that includes everyone who's ever played hockey in the NHL.
Era adjusted. It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Right? So
not too bad.
No, not at all. So I said this could be one of the best seasons by any player in a year that starts with a 2. And here's what I'm trying to find out right now, because there's a few candidates. Sidney Crosby, the year he got hurt by Dave Steckel, was stupid. It was honestly the best year of his career, and it got shortened. It's a sin. He had 15 goals, 41 points, 56 points in 36 games. Or am I even talking about the right year? I might be looking at the wrong year. Oh my God. We were so robbed of Sidney Crosby. He has a 41-game season, a 22, a 36. In those shortened seasons, his production was ridiculous. 66 in 41, 37 in 22, 56 in 36. The only other candidate to me better than McDavid if he stays at this pace or improves on it, which is also an option, is Mario Lemieux's coming out of retirement year.
Oh, that was a crazy year. He was unbelievable.
I did an era-adjusted piece, and it's one of those things. He was so good that looking at the numbers, it made me forget I was alive for it. We didn't appreciate it.
And it was the clutch and grab era, too.
Clutch and grab era, and would you look at that? 76 points in 43 games. Stupidity. 35 goals, 41 assists, 76 points in 43 games. And guess what? A pace of 144, just like Connor McDavid.
Wow.
There's a couple little decimals there. I think Lemieux was on an ever so slightly higher pace. McDavid is legitimately the best. He's the best offensive player right now this season in any year that starts with a 2.
That's fair.
Any year that starts with a 2. 60 points in 34 games. Have mercy. Good Lord. And somehow the Leafs held him off the sheet for 3 straight.
No, didn't he get 1 assist in there?
No, Leon
did.
Oh, Draisaitl did, yes.
Yeah.
No, that's the other guy who's got 50 plus points.
His teammate. Yeah.
I remember Mario coming back because, of course, it was against the Leafs. And, of course, they just smashed the Leafs 5-0.
Took him less than a period to score.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I remember that comeback very, very well. All right, well, let's move on here, guys. I think we should do an extended press conference. Do you guys have any issues with that? Unhappy with your smile? You don't have to be. Thousands of people have used Candid, the clear, comfortable, removable, and practically invisible aligners that help straighten their teeth, and now they love their smile. Just like Justin M. from Atlanta, who said when he was younger, he used to have a gap in the front and on the side of his teeth, and he noticed that people would always look at his mouth first. So he said, so I was looking for a fix. Candid ended up being the perfect company for me. Can't stop smiling now. There is no comparison. Your treatment is prescribed and closely monitored remotely by a licensed orthodontist who's an expert in tooth movement, and you'll have the same quality of care that you'd get from an in-office orthodontist from the comfort and convenience of your own home. And while other companies use general dentists, Candid only works with orthodontists. With Candid, the same orthodontist who created your plan is with you from start to finish, so you never have to wonder how you're doing. The average Candid treatment, just 6 months, and you'll start seeing results way before then, and it costs thousands less than traditional braces. Become the best you want to be. Start straightening your teeth today. Right now, you can save $75 on Candid Starter Kit. Go to candidco.com/SDP and use the code SDP. That's candidco.com/SDP, code SDP. Take advantage of this limited time offer and save $75 on your starter kit. candidco.com/SDP, code SDP.
No, let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
First up, let me pull this up. But first up, we need to talk about the Ontario rain, and that's Ontario, California.
Yes.
So on Sunday, the Ontario Reigns, Devontae Smith-Pelly, Quinton Byfield, and Akil Thomas became the first all-black line in pro hockey since the Black Aces in 1941. Wow. So big ups to them. A thing that I really believe in is if you can see it, you can believe it. Like if you see people in positions, then you can believe that it can be possible for yourself. So I think it's so huge for kids growing up, kids of color growing up, just seeing this line, seeing that all the press is making history. And what's even cooler about this line is what happened when they were on the ice. So everybody, the line's making a lot of headlines, but at 3:07 left, around when they hit the ice, the Ontario Reign were losing 4-1. And Akil Thomas had a hat trick with 3 minutes left in the game to tie the game up 4-4. And then they went to the shootout and they won the game. So not only did an all-black hockey line play for the first time since 1941, a pro hockey game, they had an unbelievable comeback with a hat trick from the line, and they ended up winning the game. So shout out to them. That's a huge moment.
It's unreal. And I gotta say, like, how special and unique and like unlikely this opportunity was, really. Because I'm looking, I knew Devontae Smith-Pelly had signed somewhere after previously not having a team this season. I didn't know it was with the Ontario Reign. He's only played there for 3 games. He's only got 3 games under his belt. Quentin Byfield, on the other hand, wouldn't even be allowed in the league in any other season because he's a junior age player. And then there's Akil Thomas, who I think just graduated from the junior ranks. So even just the odds of these guys coming together to be on the same team or even be playing in this league are just so unlikely. Man, what a great story. I knew he had a hat trick, Jesse. I didn't know it was to tie the game.
In 3 minutes and 7 seconds to close out the game.
Oh my
and then
God.
go to the shootout and win it. Unbelievable.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. I will say, though, I am sad that Devontae Smith-Pelly decided to sign with that team because earlier in the season, we were coming up with ideas for how the Leafs could get some depth guys. And I'm like, he wouldn't have to quarantine. He's in Toronto.
True.
He's got lots of playoff experience, but now he's in friggin' California. So much for that.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sure he'd come back.
Enough money. Adam, do you want to tease the Adam's History Corner you got coming on Thursday? I think it's going to be a cool one.
Yeah, it is going to be a good one. Now, I don't know how we're going to do this whole thing, but I don't know who this message is from, but it's, hey, Jesse, longtime listener of the podcast, request for Adam's History Corner. I'd love to hear his thoughts on the Stuart monarchy in Britain. To me, this is the most fascinating era of English-British history, and I look forward to hearing what Adam has to say. So here's the thing.
It's from Wes, by the way.
Wes. Okay, thank you, Wes. So Jesse's like, do you want to do this today? And I'm like, yes, but I can't because first off, to talk about an entire family lineage is, we're talking about several generations here. It takes a little bit of research. So if I'm going to do it properly, I'd like to actually read a little bit more and then come up with some overlapping things. And I also keep in mind that there are actual real historians listening to this show who I hear from, who are all very kind, by the way. And
they yell at you.
Well, no, they don't. They're not like normal hockey fans that are like, he has 17 assists, not 16. You cuck. Historians are like, well, listen, you tried really hard and you did pretty good. I would have given you like an 80%, which is the best compliment you can get because historians are all about fine details. And as you know, I am not. So I'm going to do a little bit more research, give you a really good answer on the next show. And by the way, on my Cameo, people keep doing, hey, can I get a Adam's History Corner on this or on that? So you can feel free to do that too. But I give them away for free right here on the Steve Dangle Podcast.
And you're going to have that ready for Thursday.
I am going to have it ready for Thursday. It won't be like Steve trying to prep for the debate that you guys are going to have about the Leafs and the Canadiens.
Man, that was years ago.
That's like
do it in my car outside
that's
Adam's
a 6-year-old reference. People don't get that.
People do. They know.
No one. Okay.
Fine. They don't.
All right. First question. This is from Mike Carter. For Steve and Adam, I'm a first-time dad with an 8-month-old. What can I expect from month 8 to 9?
Ooh, well, Leo turned 9 months old today. So interesting timing on that. Daddy Adam, you have the gift of you've gone through this and you also have retrospect.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I'm just sort of in the trenches right now.
I'm trying to think what happened.
And Jesse dipped. He's gone.
Did he leave?
Yeah.
A lot of.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I'm thinking that from what I remember, it's when Everly started to sleep longer. That's when I started to get 8, 9, 10 hour sleeps out of her. And that was awesome because the kids need it. And they start moving around. She started doing this bum scooch thing, which she held on to for almost a full year before she started walking. And so you start to you let them loose. And the problem is that they'll leave if you let them loose too far. So I used to put Everly in a little playpen, and then she would complain that there was a playpen and she couldn't move. So she'd sit there and cry until I moved her out of the playpen, and then she'd disappear. So I think 8 to 9 is interesting because they start to sleep, and you start to see them move, and you start to see their personalities. And I think, honestly, if I'm gonna be straight with you, you're about 6 months away from it being really fun. It's fun. But once they hit a year and a half, then the fun really begins. And I say that as a parent who loves the fact that my child can now walk. There's a lot of parents who are like, oh man, I loved it before they could walk, but now they're everywhere. And I kind of like that because she just kind of follows me. I'm very lucky that, my kid she's very social, wants to be in the same room, has no interest in stairs. So I'm not worried about any of that stuff. And when we go on walks, she'll walk for like 20, 30 minutes without a stroller. I don't even have a stroller. She just kind of walks.
Don't you hate when kids kid at you?
Yeah.
They just be kids.
Yeah, they're just being children. Stupid.
Man, they move around. Like,
I've legitimately had people tell me that. They're like, I hated when they started moving because then I had to chase them everywhere. And I'm like, that's the best part. You bring them to the park. Like, let's go. Come on. This will be fun.
Yeah. I'm not there yet. I will say 8 to 9 is like Leo's starting to move around now. Mm-hmm. He can't crawl yet. Our friends who have younger and smaller children, they can crawl. And Leo can't. And I wonder if it's because he's bigger. I don't know. But he's starting to... I feel like he could. I feel like he has the strength. He just hasn't put it together in his head yet. What he's doing is he's rolling. So if there's something he wants and it's across the room, he'll roll at it as long as it takes. And the only thing with him is he's starting to whine more. And it's two things. It's the teeth, because he's got 2 teeth now, and I think a bunch more are about to go through his gums, which I imagine is painful. And also, he's starting to have a feeling of, I want that thing, and I can't get to it. So he gets frustrated when you take something from him that's covered in dirt and he wants to put in his mouth. Or, I want this. And then, like, it's not even crying. Like, he fake cries now a little bit.
Yeah.
That's a little bit annoying.
Oh, boy.
But the sleep is real good. The only nights he doesn't have good sleep, he has the courtesy to wake up before we've gone to bed. He sleeps for 12 hours a night. It's awesome. But yeah, he's going to start moving around more. He or she, I don't.
Yeah, you're going to have fun. You're going to have fun. The fun begins now, but like really begins, I think, year and a half.
A lot more interactive.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
All right. Next question comes from Josh Biggs. What in the hippo is wrong with the power play? Do you guys have any theories on what the hell's going on with the struggling Leafs power play?
The player with the best wrist shot in the world can't shoot.
Mm-hmm. That's so apparent, like especially on Saturday where there was just kind of pucks lying there and Matthews just couldn't get enough on it. Like he's hurt.
And then he hit the post. Oh,
yeah.
He's getting pissed. I know. And I wonder if, and with Matthews, we only see it the couple times, right? Like, he's obviously holding it differently or his body's involuntarily like protecting it. Like Freddie does that all game.
Yeah.
By the look of it, right? And you see how much it affects his game. I mean, he had the touch of death. His presence made the power play a threat. He could for an entire 2-minute power play, not touch the puck. They could score at the 2-minute mark, just because there was the threat of him there, right? And teams are able to key in a little bit better. But the problem I'm seeing, they're really not getting enough zone time, and they're really struggling with those exits. And when they dump it, it takes forever to get it back.
I think too, Wayne Simmons being back is going to help because Manny Malhotra loves to have a guy in front of the net, and Wayne Simmons loves to be the guy in front of the net.
Yeah.
Match made in heaven. That's how Manny Malhotra runs his power play. So I think that's going to help as well.
Yeah.
You need somebody kind of doing that. The Leafs haven't had that since JVR left. And it really is noticeable. It does make a difference. And when they were humming, Wayne Simmons was in the lineup playing every night.
Loosely related, Sheldon Keefe in that Saturday night game really managing the bench because people were talking about that fourth line of Engvall, Mikheyev, Hyman. Like, what the hell did those guys do to get demoted to the fourth line? Simmons actually played 12:42. Which was smack dab in the middle of Engvall and Mikheyev to the second. They played 12:41 and 43 respectively. Hyman, fourth liner, Zach Hyman, played 19 minutes. Right? So those are just... The Leafs are really thinking about this differently from other teams. Mm-hmm. They're throwing it out there before the game, going, these are our 5-on-5 lines. These are some of our 5-on-5 lines.
All right, because the big thing going into that was, Wayne Simmons is on the first line.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that wasn't true. When the game plays out, he played, like you said, Steve, just 12 minutes. Like, that's not first line play.
Gouch too, right? Gouch played he started with Tavares Nylander, played 12 minutes.
Yeah, the big guys are still getting the minutes they need.
Yep.
Yeah. I think we need to stop looking at those lines that they tweet out as, these are the lines they're going with during the game. It's
Jesse,
Keefe is going to.
That's how it works in NHL 21.
It's not real life. They're going to play different.
Guys,
You guys play lines at any time.
Play with someone who changes their lines mid-game. Can you
Oh,
stop?
my God.
We're trying to get through this.
Yeah,
Stop.
No.
Do you know people that do that?
I got homework. No, this is like when I was younger.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oof. Anyway,
Get out of here.
next question.
All right. Do you guys have information, Steve, on CJ's run? Do you know where he's going to be doing it? And that, because Stuart Todd tweeted us and said he would like to go out and support him. Do you know where he's physically going to do his marathon?
That's a great question. I don't know if CJ would want you knowing that. No offense. You know what? We should get him to come on, though, to talk Leafs, obviously, but also promote his run.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually just texting him about that yesterday.
Can you explain a little for people who don't know?
Oh, yeah. So CJ, I think, has been running every day since the pandemic hit. I mean, you see it on TV. The dude is friggin' Olympian svelte now with just this luscious Toronto haven't been able to get a haircut flow going on. CJ, just gorgeous superhero, man. He's going to do a full marathon, which is 42 kilometers in support of Conquer COVID-19. So the money will go there. I think he has a link on his Twitter. It might be a pinned tweet. But what I was texting him about yesterday is you need to do this run. Unless you're going to be wearing Conquer COVID merch, you need to do this run in a Juggernaut shirt. Because for that one day, that one marathon, raising money for a good cause, CJ is the Juggernaut. And not like the one that's going to fail. Like, he's actually going to be the Juggernaut.
All right. And
he sent me did you see the fake CJ tweet?
No. Is there a fake CJ?
Yeah. It was like reporter Chris Johnston with like an extra R. And it was like, since you've asked, the Edmonton Oilers are a juggernaut. And the first 5 minutes before people realize it's just Oilers fans going, no! They thought he put the juggernaut curse on him. And he's like, man, I'm never going to get rid of this. I'm like, that's why you need to lean into it, son.
Yeah. I'm looking.
You gotta wear that shirt.
I'm looking for this account. Is it reporter 2 hours at the beginning or 2 hours at the end?
I think it's the second R in reporter.
Oh, okay. There's three.
Oh, that's tricky.
Reporter Chris. Okay, I'm trying.
Can you read some of the tweets?
Yeah. Hang on.
Yeah,
I'm just looking it up.
fun.
I'm looking it up. Hang on. Search instead for. I can't find report.
You might have deleted it. Might have deleted it.
Okay, I can't find it. If there's a reporter Chris account that's fake, we are definitely reading tweets from it. That's hilarious. Find it? You find it? You find it?
It says this count does not exist.
Boo.
Means it was taken down.
Let me check again. Reporter Chris. No. None of the R's. No, I don't got it.
Okay.
Is this good, guys? Is this?
It's terrible.
Steve Dangle è un tipo maleonte. What does that mean? Well, in case you don't speak Spanish, that means Steve Dangle is a smelly guy, and I just learned it from Babbel, the #1 selling language learning app in the world. It's one of my goals for the new year was to learn a little bit of, new language. And Babbel has made the whole process addictively fun and easy, and I can throw little barbs at my friends in different languages. Little bite-sized lessons, perfect for guys like me who really have low attention spans. They're 15 minutes long, and they make it perfect to learn a new language. You're not spending your time conjugating verbs. We're talking about real world conversations. Now, you've seen other language learning apps and they use AI for their lesson plans. Babbel lessons were created by using over 100 language experts. Their teaching method has been scientifically proven to be effective. And with Babbel, you could choose from 14 different languages, including the one I'm trying to learn, Spanish. Plus, Babbel's speech recognition technology helps you improve your pronunciation and accent. That's the part I'm still working on. So just bear with me. Right now, when you purchase a 3-month Babbel subscription, you'll get an additional 3 months for free. So that's 6 months for the price of 3. Just go to Babbel.com and use the promo code THEORY. That's BABBEL.com, code THEORY, for an extra 3 months free. Babbel, language for life.
Steve, next question. I try to avoid these types of questions because God knows I'm sick of it. But Alan Smith says, get Steve to talk about some of the stupid customers at the zoo.
Oh God!
So you get. Right,
I'm gonna sit down for this one.
You get one, okay? You get one story this podcast, and that's it. And then never want to hear this shit again. Give us one story about the zoo and a dumb customer, okay?
You talk about it.
Adam, you're a dick. Well, here,
Steve, my life at the zoo. This animal is ruining my life.
I worked there for 7 years. Adam, while you were gallivanting, while you were hosting parties in Halifax and Calgary, I was standing next to a camel's asshole.
Let's, Steve, get to the story. We want this segment to be over.
Okay.
All right, Steve's Zoo Corner. Let's one customer story.
So a little bit of context here.
Oh no!
Part of the reason people are bringing up the zoo is because I was tweeting about it last night because I fucking worked there. I know, but also there was a story of a guy. It's one of the most surreal videos I've ever seen. I was raised on the internet. You can't surprise me. You can't make me gasp. This video made me gasp. This dude took his 2-year-old daughter, climbed over a barrier, climbed through another one, and into an elephant enclosure at the San Diego Zoo, was just posing unprotected by anything next to an elephant. The elephant charges him while his back is turned. He does not move. There are a few seconds where he's just standing there unaware that an elephant is charging at him. And last update I saw in the story, he's currently being held on $100,000 bail.
Oh my God.
And one of the charges is child endangerment. So to give you an idea, by the way, of how fucking dangerous this is.
I'm on TMZ right now watching the video.
It's shocking, right?
All right, I gotta get up for this.
Yeah, Adam, you're gonna want to. I know you don't want to hear zoo stories, but you got to see this. You got to see this frigging video.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. Jesse Blake.
The man. Oh, he drops the kid.
He drops the kid because he's running for their lives because there's an elephant behind them.
Oh my, Adam, you need to watch this. Everybody listening needs to watch this.
Yeah, so you got to watch this. You have
just
time.
Google San Diego
I'll kill
Zoo
time, and I promise I'll make my story relate to this one.
Okay.
But Adam, San Diego's literally type in elephant.
Yeah.
I can't imagine there's a bigger elephant story right now.
I typed in San Diego Zoo and it's the first. The TMZ link is the first.
There you go. San Diego Zoo, by the way, if it's not the biggest zoo in the world, it's the biggest in North America. That was part of the Zoomobile tour. The Toronto Zoo, by the way, is 3rd or 4th.
Do you know any zoo facts, Steve?
Giraffe's heart is about the size of a basketball. 2 meters of its height are in its neck, another 2 are in its legs, and they give birth standing up.
Can you give us your story so we can move on?
Okay.
By the way, I just want to say this guy's got the look of a guy who would jump into an elephant enclosure with his young daughter. This guy, if you're looking at me like that's the guy that would do it. He's exactly how you think he looks.
I haven't seen his face. I wouldn't know.
Don't need to.
I've seen him turn around and go, holy fuck. Now, one of the things I saw, and this is my story now, why didn't anyone say anything? Right? Because there's people standing around the enclosure. Why didn't anyone say anything to this guy trying to get him to stop? So I can't remember if I wrote about this in the book or not. I think I did. But basically, at the end of the night, we got to drive the Zoomobile, which is this bus sort of thing that we gave the tour on the zoo. You got to drive it back into the garage alone. There was the driver, Rob, at the front, and for security reasons, there was me at the back. If I really want to talk to Rob, I can get on the microphone. The problem is I can't hear him back. So we're driving, and he doesn't notice.
Hey, Adam, did you like knowing about Rob?
It's,
I'm just so happy I know that Rob exists.
The reason it is important to know his name is because Rob does not, as we're passing the giraffes, which is the last animal that we pass before the garage, Rob doesn't notice there is a man standing next to one of the giraffes.
Okay, well, that's okay. That's
in the enclosure. Here's the part where his name is relevant. I get on the mic and I'm afraid to scream because I'm like, what if I startle this animal and the guy dies?
Right.
So I go, Rob, like as soft as I can, Rob, and like I'm trying to ask him louder, but also without shouting, Rob, look, Rob, stop, Rob, stop. Right now. So finally, Rob stops, and we just put the brakes on, and we very calmly get out, and we we radio for security immediately, but also we just very calmly walk up to the guy and go, "Hey man, what you doing in there?" "Oh, just getting the pictures." So somewhere there's some asshole who just has a picture standing next to a 6 meter tall giraffe.
He didn't get arrested?
He took off. Well, first of all, Rob and I are seasonal employees. We're not tackling him. And security wasn't there. It's the 3rd largest zoo in North America. And so there's just some guy who got away with exactly what that guy did, except he wasn't endangering a child while he did it. But giraffes, they can, part of the script was you can crush the skull of a lion with the kick of a giraffe, because they're designed to eat things off of tall things and kill lions if they have to. And this dude in cargo shorts is just standing there. So if you were watching that video going, I would have said something. Bet you wouldn't have, because you'd be like, oh my God, this guy might get trampled by a fucking elephant.
Interesting. That's a good
I thought that was a good story worth not interrupting. What about you? What about you two?
The issue is I don't know.
I would never interrupt you guys. I never have.
I just want to know what Rob's parents' names were.
Let me look on Facebook.
Where did he go to school?
Probably somewhere in Pickering. You guys are dicks. His name was relevant to the story. I don't understand how I was being gratuitous with that relevant fact.
To ask Steve, what kind of shoes was he wearing that day?
Probably Converse All-Stars. They were big at the time.
I love you, man.
Where else can we hear more?
The feeling's not mutual. You guys are assholes.
You should start a podcast on the SDPN about your zoo stories.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
book about that.
Well, there is a book, but there's more. Clearly, Jesse. He hasn't got to them all.
That was not in the book, Steve.
Yeah.
How come it didn't make it?
You know what? You know what has been mentioned more on this podcast than my fucking friend Rob from the zoo? Gaul. And
what?
Different dynasties and the Moors and whatever, Adam. Some other historical shit. Talk about Winston Churchill again. And you know what? Jesse was the asshole here, and here I am ripping on Adam. With friends like these, folks. With friends like these.
Man, I gotta say, I can't fucking wait to just be in the same room as you guys again. I
can't wait to spit in your face.
What has it been? Has it been like a year and a half? Spit in my face.
Not quite.
That's illegal.
March, like 15th?
Was it March 15th?
14th, maybe?
Somewhere in there.
Well, then it's been a full year since we've been in the same room together. I miss that. That was a good, hearty chuckle. That feels good.
I suggested either last night or this morning we should do like a distanced podcast.
We should.
In like a yard.
It's just hard to find. Well, it's still a little cold, right? It is still like it might be 16 degrees, but it's not. What's that?
We could literally drive to Steve's backyard and just do a podcast in his backyard.
We could, but who's got fucking time for that? I'm kidding.
Adam, you can listen to the zoo section of my book on the way here.
Joking.
Steve, I'm on your team now.
I'm joking. Hey.
Jesse, I just found out Jesse's half Italian. Apparently, always switching sides.
Oh,
just always switching sides.
Switching
Jesse.
sides. I see what he's saying there. Okay. Well, listen, we got to let you go. We're going to be back on Thursday. So we'll talk to you then. Until then, shout out to Rob for being a guy that is a good, solid driver. Steve,
what number in line are you? Did you leave your?
Oh, I left. I'm literally almost dead last out of 300,000 people.
Oh, okay.
That's legitimately difficult to do.
I moved up 10,000 spots, so be jealous.
Yeah, you're fucked.
All right, guys. Love you. See you later.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.